My kids are eating lunch and I'm in the playroom because I can't be in the kitchen. So I wanted to start today by saying that, and I've been meaning to mention this. If you have a kid that's pretty independent, or like you need to just like put them, like have them do something like write pen and paper or pencil and paper, there are really fantastic math resources and workbooks out there. I know that you can get them on Amazon, Target, Walmart, HEB, whatever grocery store you go to. A lot of them will have pretty fantastic math, just like practice workbooks. Do it. Like, do it. And what I've been telling some of my families is that if your kid has mastered a lot of the kindergarten concepts, go ahead and grab that math workbook, that first grade math workbook. You're not going to hurt them. It's not a problem to go ahead and be like, well, I feel like we've mastered a lot of this stuff. Let's grab the next set. So I highly suggest any of that. Like if you just want something really simple and easy for them to sit down and do, go do that. Like that's totally okay. Those are out there and really fantastic. Today's video is going to be about geometry. So we're going to be talking about 2 and 3 dimensional shapes. So, and I didn't bring I've got one here. 2 and 3 dimensional shapes. So when we talk about 2 and 3 dimensional shapes, remember I'm only covering kindergarten objectives. I'm not covering first grade objectives. Or pre-K objectives. We're just talking about kindergarten here today. So there's just too much for me to cover all 3. Okay, in kindergarten, the 2-dimensional shapes guys, these are minimal standards. This is what I want them leaving me doing. Many of my kids come in with a lot of shape knowledge and vocabulary, which is fantastic. So the 2-dimensional shapes that I want them knowing by the end for sure are triangles, circles, rectangles, and squares. And I want them to be able to identify, is that it? Yeah. And I want them to be able to identify that a square is just a special kind of rectangle where all of the sides are the same. Okay, minimal. When I have a class full of kids that generally have that information, we move much further and beyond and identify many, many more 2-dimensional shapes. That is what I want that is what they have to leave me knowing. 3-dimensional shapes they have to leave me knowing are cylinders, cones, spheres, and cubes. Minimally. Those are the 3-dimensional shapes they have to know. Be able to look at them and identify that is a cube, that is a cone, that is a sphere, and that is a cylinder. Those are the ones that they have to leave me knowing. Okay, shapes are a really fantastic thing for you to tackle at your house because the biggest thing that I want them to do with the shapes is be able to identify them. I want them to be able to tell me the attributes of those shapes, like how many sides do they have, how many vertices do they have, be able to tell me about the shape and be able to compare the shape. But guys, so much of this stuff is just in your house, like it's just at your house. So I happen to have some teachery things at my house that have to do with shapes. These are also things that you can find all over the place. This is a Melissa and Doug set. I'll pull it up. This is a Melissa and Doug set. I would use this in my classroom. I have a lot of these shapes in my classroom. If you have stuff like this at home, great. Mostly what my kids have been, in fact, both my pre-K and my first grade kid both had assignments where they had to go around our house and look for shapes. Super fantastic assignment. This is like, we want them identifying these shapes in the real world. This pillow is a rectangle, okay? And be able to say this, I want them to be able to say this side, these 2 sides are the same, these 2 sides are the same, these 2 sides are longer than these sides. And that's what makes it a rectangle. I want them to be able to tell you there are 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. These are the sides. This is the face. Those are the kinds of things I want them to be able to tell me and talk about. Okay, so I also have these really, guys, these are just things that we have at our house. Also have these really great blocks that are the magnet blocks, but you can make, of course it's going to be hard for me. You can make like a triangle, but you can also make like the 3-dimensional shapes from these. Let's see if I can do it. You can make like a cube, and it's easy. I know, of course it's falling apart. Okay, so you can make like the 3-dimensional shapes out of these magnet blocks. And these also have a set of magnet blocks that come like this. So like cylinders and then spheres. Most of us have balls at home and talking about them being spheres. It's just about practicing the vocabulary in real world situations, doing a shape hunt around the neighborhood, doing a shape hunt around your house, including those 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional shapes. One thing that we do in kindergarten a lot with the 3-dimensional shapes is we identify which ones stack, which ones slide, and which ones roll. Like which ones have flat faces that you can stack on top of each other, which ones have flat faces that you can slide, and which ones have rounded parts that you can roll. So we sort them a lot in doing and using that vocabulary. We do want them to be able to create, and this is the part that I didn't grab. Let me see. This is not the most ideal one. Oh, look. Oh, guys, it says, I miss my friends. Well, that's not the truth. Okay, so one trick that I use, I'm going to pull this down so you can see. One trick that I use when I'm helping the kids create their 2 and 3-dimensional, their 2D shapes, one trick that I use is I have them, at the point that I want them to generate the shape or draw the shape by themselves, I have them draw the corners first. I have them do dots for the corners. So like if they're going to try, triangles are hard. Triangles are tricky for kids to draw. So if I want them to draw a triangle, I'll say draw the corners first. Okay, so we have a dot, it's kind of hard to see, a dot, and a dot. Those are the corners, those are the vertices. And then we draw the line and just connect the dots, and then you have a really great triangle. Okay, so like that is how I teach them how to, let me see. And like a rectangle, you do 2 close together, and then you kind of come this way and do 2 close together, and then connect the, oh, hard to say, and then you connect the dots. So that's my trick for getting the kids to draw, the 2D shapes. Don't expect them to draw the 3-dimensional shapes. I have a hard time drawing 3-dimensional shapes. Super not something they need to do. 3-dimensional shapes, if you want to get crafty at your house, 3-dimensional, doctor's office stickers, 3-dimensional shapes, the best way to do it is just use marshmallows and toothpicks, both of which you can get at the grocery store, and just use the marshmallows as the corners, as the edges or vertices, and not the edges, as the vertices, and then use the toothpicks as the edges. Kids love this activity. We do it, I think pre-K, kinder, and first grade all do it. It's a really fun activity. So that is my information about 2D and 3D shapes. Not a super long video. I hope that's helpful. I hope it gives you some ideas. Don't stress about 2D and 3D shapes. Kids usually get it really well. If you feel like your kids already have the things that we need to know in kindergarten, go past it. Some kids' brains are really wired for shapes and do really well. And some kids, like, it's just not their favorite thing, and that's okay too. But they're really fun. It's a super accessible objective for you guys to work on at home, and I hope that this is helpful. I hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Enjoy your evening. I'm going to try and get another one out tomorrow.